What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning back into the channel. I really appreciate it. Hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to do my what, where, and why video for the Kerr Lake two-day ABA Division 16 championship that was last weekend. Before I do that, I want to thank everybody for the comments, the likes, and for all of you that have subscribed to the channel. Man, I really appreciate it. There's still a big portion of the audience, according to my YouTube analytics that I get from them every week. But 60% of you come back every week and watch the videos, but aren't subscribing to the channel. I would ask that you would consider subscribing. Just takes the push of a button. If you don't like the content or it changes and it's not something you're coming back watching and you don't want to be notified about it, you could very easily unsubscribe to the channel by pushing the same button. So I'd appreciate it if you would consider doing that. It helps the channel grow. I have ideas for things I want to do. This is a little bit more, it's a little more time consuming and more work than people think it is. And I enjoy it. I like putting the videos out. I love the commentary back and forth. And by the way, on top of that, one of the subscribers pretty much watches every video and sends me interesting comments. I want to give him a little bit of props here. Mike, Big Mike, I think he may even have his own YouTube channel, Big Mike's Fishing Chronicles, I think it's called. He brought something to my attention after watching this video, and after I went back and watched, not watching this video, but after watching the actual Kerr two-day video from the championship, he brought something to my attention about where I was fishing my sliderhead worm, and it was spot on. I didn't even realize it. That's one of the things about recording, is you see habits and tendencies when you're fishing that you don't really realize until you go back and watch it a second time or a third time, where a bite may have come from, what you were doing with the bait that may have caused the bite, something you were doing that was probably maybe keeping you from getting a bite. So there's lots of different things that come from recording and from the commentary back and forth between me and you guys that hopefully not only helps you, but it definitely helps me too. So shout out to Mike. I appreciate it. Again, I would ask that you consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And I appreciate all you guys and girls that have. And I appreciate all the feedback. Now, let's get into last weekend. It was hot. It was super hot. One of those drink a lot of water, drink a lot of Gatorade, do everything you can to stay hydrated hot. The lake had come down 3 to 4 foot since the last time I was there. So, but everybody knows once spring, sometimes they don't even wait till the summer. But luckily, spawn's done, and they really started sucking it down. It was down to under 300, 299 something. And I felt like it was still falling. I could, being there for 3 days, you can see the water line, you can see it was still coming down. If you're a shallow water fisherman like I am, that makes it even tougher on you. It is what it is. You fish what's there. That's what I did. Friday, I got a chance to fish on Friday, the day before the Derby started. Hit 3 or 4 spots, nothing. Came up on a 5th area that I wanted to try. Had a lot of rock on it. Had a few docks there. Boom, bait everywhere. 5 casts, I caught 2 fish, shook off a 3rd one. I was like, well, see if I can find this somewhere else. I actually have a pattern with it. I wasn't able to do it, but I said, at least I got a starting spot. First thing Saturday morning, I went back there. But my 5th cast, I caught one on this Boogerman buzzbait. I love this buzzbait. You can pretty much bend the head very easily, get the blade to tap that head, and it's pretty noisy. Took the skirt off, and I put on one of these Ketchco. I've talked about these before. This is an awesome piece of plastic. You can do a lot of stuff with it. It's got a shad shape to it. Put this on the buzzbait. 1,000 fish Yodo worm, it's called. This particular color is called Pink Lemonade. It does have a little bit of a pink hue to it, but it had a real good shad hue. You can see the gray black on top and white on the bottom. It's got a little pink hue to it. I put these on buzz baits a lot of times. It gives it weight, easy to cast, and it's got a real good bait fish silhouette on top of the water on a buzz bait. I've used it on chatterbaits before too. About my 4th or 5th cast, I caught one on this buzz bait and I thought, okay, here we go. Well, I fished in there, in that area, for a couple hours. Here's a better look at that Yodo worm, it's called. That tail, man, is like, even when you hold still, it's always quivering. It's just an awesome little piece of plastic. You can do a lot of stuff with it. Greenfish tackle. I'm sorry, not greenfish tackle. Ketchko is who puts this thing out. It's 4 3/4 inches, and it's called the Yodo worm. After the buzzbait fish, I didn't catch another fish in that area. There was bait there, but it wasn't there like the day before. And after fishing that area and then fishing around some other rock, I was like, okay, it was a full moon that weekend, so I knew there's still going to be some bluegill spawning. So I started running the backs of pockets in Panhandle Creek, where I thought there may be some bluegill spawning and looking for bait. Well, there were bluegill there and there were bass there. You could see them cruising. So what did I do? I picked up my summertime staple, the old 3/16 slider head, and I put on a blue shad silver flake trick worm. This is actually made by Bitters Baits. Bitters Bait Company out of Florida. It's not made by Zoom. I love this color. It's actually become probably my favorite color with a trick worm. It works in the rivers around here where I live. It works at Kerr, it works at Gaston. It's just a real good color. It's blue shad. You can see blue belly, black back, and it's got a lot of silver flake mixed in with it. And it's just one of my favorite colors now with a trick worm. I started fishing around the bluegill beds with the trick worm, and I was able to catch 2 that way. I lost a 4th, and I also lost one earlier that day on the buzzbait. So the first day I only weighed in 3 fish. I knew that wasn't good, and I knew I was behind the 8 ball from the jump. Still had Sunday to fish, so Sunday I decided I was going to go back to the Middle Lake area and try to hit more of those pockets. So I went to another creek I love to fish, Eastland. I was able to get a keeper right off the bat with the same trick worm, same 3/16 slider pro spider head, it's called. It's got the real good hook on it. I've done a video on this about how I fish it and the different ways I use this head. But that bite was going away, and you could tell it was going away fast. There were still bluegill there. The bass that were there, they were usually in packs of 2 or 3, and you could see them. A couple of them that I caught with this worm, I threw out ahead of them. A couple of them were either on a dock right beside where the bluegill were spawning, or on a piece of wood that was still in the water where the bluegill were spawning. And that's how I was able to catch them. But on Sunday, they were much more spooky. I did catch one with this, and then I lost about a 2.5 pounder with this same worm. That hurt because nothing I was catching fish with, I was getting any size. Now I did catch a 3.5 Friday in that area where all the bait was, but Saturday and Sunday, man, everything I was catching was between 12, 14, 14.5 inches. I couldn't get a bigger bite on anything. After, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours Sunday of fishing in the back of pockets in Eastland, and the water temps were getting hotter and hotter. I mean, it was anywhere between 84 to 88, 89 everywhere I went. The coolest water I did find was where all that bait was. So after doing this for a couple of hours, had one, lost one, Nothing, I couldn't get nothing else to come up on top water. I said, I'm going back to that area where the bait was. And I couldn't record on Sunday because I got paired with a co-angler, and I felt like my camera, even if I use my Yolotech and put it on the back of where the light goes, I feel like it hinders people's casting and stuff, so I didn't want to do that. So I didn't put it up. So that's why I didn't film the second day. It actually ended up being a good day as far as catching fish and numbers of fish for me and for the guy that was my co-angler. But I couldn't record it. And again, it was a lot of other fish besides bass. When I got there, I made sure that I looked for the bait first, started moving around, and I found it. And it was just one particular area. And I'm gonna be honest, I could not figure out why the bait was holding there. There wasn't any brush there. It was between two docks, and it was about a 60, 70 yard stretch. That bait just constantly was moving back and forth. And I was watching when I first got there, it was about 14, 15 foot of water. But then it started to move up. And when that bait got up, it was like flipping a switch almost. When it got up to like 8, 10 foot below the surface, I started throwing this 3XD, Strike King 3XD, and it was like just for the next, I stayed there the rest of the day because I kept catching fish. I was catching spotted bass, I was catching largemouth, I was catching white bass. Between me and him, we probably caught 40 fish, probably, between the two of us. I was able to get 4 keepers. Out of that one spot, and now actually I called out the spot. They were all largemouth, so I ended up getting my 5 on Sunday, which I was glad of that because after the way Saturday went, I was pretty bummed. I really wanted to at least weigh in a limit, even if I couldn't get that much weight, and this is what they all came on, and they were feeding on shad, and this 3XD Sexy Shad is what did all the damage. I was throwing it on a Cast King Crixus reel, 6:3-to-1 gear ratio, 12-pound line, and a Cast King cranking rod. All the fish Sunday came on that, and that limit weighed just under 7 pounds. It was, I knew I wasn't gonna win. I knew I wasn't on any kind of fish that were gonna help me win. But I very well should have had a limit both days. I think I finished 17th out of, I want to say it was 28, 29 boats, something like that. Because you had to have fished 4 of the one-day tournaments to qualify to fish the 2-day championship. And we only had 29 boats, I think, show up. So that's pretty much it. That's my last tournament in ABA for the 2024 season. I'm going to be switching gears some now, and I'm going to be fishing more closer to home, which in a way, I'm kind of looking forward to that because I have been running back and forth to Kerr a lot this spring and early summer, and now I'm going to be switching toward focusing over more toward the rivers. I got a couple of tournaments I'm going to fish here close by home on a couple of the rivers, and I'm going to be making more video and content on the rivers as well, because I have had people ask me if I would show more of my bait choices and color choices and stuff, ways I like to fish and go about it in the rivers that are close to where I live. So it's going to give me a chance to do that. Hopefully this is helpful to somebody. Right now at Kerr, the thing about summertime fishing is it's not going to change much from here until next 2 or 3 months. It's going to be, maybe if you can find an area, some top water in the morning, or find some spots schooling. I know the blue herring in Kerr now, and there's always that chance of a school coming up. But a lot of your fishing and a lot of your catching is going to be bait related, and it's going to be a lot of it's going to be cranking or Carolina rigging or that kind of thing. But I always look for a shallow bite, and I was able to find one. It just wasn't any fish around it. or on that particular way I was fishing that were of the size to, I think, you know, the guy that won had 26, 27 pounds. So that's about 13 pounds a day. You know, I was catching, the best 5 I was catching wouldn't have weighed any more than 8 or 9 pounds a day. But, you know, I was looking, I was trying to find the area where I could catch something bigger. And like I said, Friday I caught that 3.5 pounder where all that bait was. And they were choking this. I had one fish die on me Sunday. When they were eating this, they were eating it good. He got it all, one of the trebles got wrapped all up in underneath his tongue, and you know how that is with a bass. For some reason, they don't do well when they get hooked in the tongue. But I hope this is helpful. Like I said, I'll have more videos coming to you guys. If you got any questions or comments, and like I said at the beginning, if you're watching the videos every week, I can ask that you consider subscribing to the channel. I'd appreciate it. And thanks for all the likes, all the comments. And if you are somebody that watches the videos on a regular, share the videos with your, with your buddies. And any feedback you got, just bring it, because I really like talking fishing and going back and forth with you guys, different things about things you do different than the way I do them. And it's just, good conversation back and forth, and it could be helpful both ways. So if you're going fishing, stay cool, take care of your fish. I used a lot of G-juice last weekend and a lot of ice trying to keep them alive. They weren't big, but I hate seeing them. When you're fishing derbies, you try to keep your fish alive. So that's what I was doing. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next video, and stay cool.